What time is it?
It's time for Wicked Spursy.
Now call me real bro. Say no like to back and talk. Land to your fucking head. Throw that for what let me see.
Hey, it's Wicked Spursy. It's just Mike tonight. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened yesterday. I made sure that everybody was going to be on board, and it seemed I got a very probably from Brian from Rhode Island. I got a if you can do it at midnight from Nick, and I got a I have no commitments at all tomorrow from Steve. So I don't know what's going on other than Steve got a new tattoo yesterday, and the tattoo is of an orca. So I'm hoping that the orca did not eat his arm off. Um, Outside of that, today was such a beautiful day. It was an idyllic Vermont day. The type of day where you know it's a fall day. It's like the perfect September day for Vermont. Um, about 75 degrees outside, sunny, nice breeze. Um, Not really overcast or anything at all. Excuse me, I'm gonna open this beer. Um, but what I really enjoyed about it is that I could get outside and do some stuff and not have to worry about like fucking just sweating and being disgusting for the rest of the day. I was able to go to it is a holiday here in the United States. We're we're This is Labor Day, so um, Labor Day is to celebrate all the workers out there, all the people um, who work that 9 to 5, and give their lives for their jobs basically, so they can support themselves, support their families. Um, and these are the types of days that my labor union likes to celebrate. So my labor union did have a big event today. About 2,500 people showed up, marched through Burlington. I was not there because I did have um, other engagements, prior engagements that I had to meet. But yeah, what a nice turnout, and what a great day to celebrate labor by organized labor getting together and celebrating that. Um, so with all of that, we did have a game that we played this weekend that we have to kind of discuss. I know we kind of really don't want to. It was kind of an awful game. Uh, straight off the top, Bournemouth, they dominated the game from second one, probably to about 20 to 25 minutes left in the game. Um, 19 shots in all, six of them on target. Spurs managed just 5 shots and only one on target. So I mean, Bournemouth, they showed tactical aggression, intensity throughout the game. They had a super impressive organized structure offensively. The XG, if you're into that kind of thing, really told the tale of this game. It was like 1.6 to 0.35. So if you're looking at that, and they scored one goal, so if you're looking at that, those numbers, you gotta really um, give a lot of credit to what Vicario did out there. A lot of Spurs players had some of their worst games that I've seen since they've been in a shirt, in a Spurs shirt. Pedro Porro was not good. Bentancur was not good. Bentancur was lots of times receiving the ball, retreating, and getting the ball back to the center backs. Um, like he was almost like he was scared. Um, and it seemed to me that they were allowing um, Van de Ven to push up a little more and exploiting that side with Semenyo, who is a brilliant player, an absolute brilliant player. Uh, let's not you know uh, let's not take any credit from what they did. They had a game plan coming in. We talked about it last week. Knew it was going to be a struggle. Knew it was going to be a tough game. I thought Spurs were going to come out on top eventually, and even through halftime, I thought Spurs were going to eventually kick it in the gear and get going. We were excited because Frank had a little bit of that. He had a little bit of bravado coming off the win against Man City, and thought that I've got a plan coming into this, and you know got kind of tuned up, didn't we? We weren't able to do anything in possession. We weren't able to do really anything in the press. Um, we had like no shots, no corners at all in the first half, and I don't even think we got a shot on goal till like the 70th or 75th minute, something crazy like that. Um, and the game didn't really get going until they like started taking some serious chances. They when they brought in Lucas. Lucas always injects when he comes in to a game. He injects like some crazy chaotic energy. Odebear again. Um, no, another one of these guys who can put an effect on the game. I think that in the end, like Matis Tell, like there's something about Tell that just doesn't seem right for me. Um, I don't know if he's playing on the wrong side, playing in the wrong position. Um, but no, none of these substitutes were able to kind of turn the tide of the game, and that really played out in the end. Um, what really got me was Frank's acknowledging the fans' boos in his post game. He he said they deserved it. Um, He kind of did put some of it on the players. You saw in some of the replays after the game that he was on the side of the field and he was calling players over one by one to give them instruction and to kind of ball them out for not doing what they're asked to do. It looked like Spurs were kind of scared most of the game. So I mean, what do we take away from this? I mean, the main takeaways are that we're not going to win every single game, right? And you know, the game could have very easily been 4-0, 3-4-0 to Bournemouth. Um, Evan Nielsen's a good player. Semenyo's a good player. They have a lot of really good players on that team. They're a good team. They're very organized. And Tyler Adams really, and as much as the British fans don't really accept the players from the United States, you know, as one of as a top tier type player. Any of the players that are in the Premier League from the United States are never considered these top tier players. Tyler Adams, um, and uh, in a different position, Jedi Robinson too at Fulham. They're both excellent players. Tyler Adams captained the USA team. I mean, so we have to understand that like Tyler Adams, like he bossed that midfield for most of the game. Um, we were completely outplayed creativity and on execution. Um, uh, Bournemouth executed tactically. They dominated the chances. They dominated the XG. We talked about that. Um, so far they're proving to kind of be a little bit of a force in the early season. Um, Obviously, we're going to regroup. We have a couple of new signings that we're bringing in. Um, you know, but let's talk about this. Let's talk about the possession in this game because I mean, we ended up with more possession, right? I think um, managed only five total shots, one on target, like I said. Um, we had the passing accuracy. We were dominating passing accuracy. But so if you're looking at on its face these numbers, you wouldn't think that Tottenham got completely dominated. We got completely dominated. Tackles are about the same. Let's look at these numbers here. Bournemouth had 29 touches in the box versus our 18. Um, and I think that in the end, what it came down to was overall physicality. I mean, we think of Paulinho as being this destructive tackling machine, right? Um, and you think that would rub off on a lot of the other players on the team. I mean, we just lacked a little bit of teeth in this game, and I think we got out physicaled. I think we got we got tactically outplayed, and I really think that we got run off the ball most of the time. Um, the way that they played really paid off, and quite handsomely. Now let's go to Vicario, because um, Vicario was an animal in this game. He was everywhere. He was going to stop that shot from Evan Nilsson. Had Kuti not thrown his foot in there and deflected it, because he was in position. There was another play on the other side with Semenyo. I think it was Semenyo who came in, ended up missing the shot, dribbled directly into him because he got his body in the way. But Brennan Johnson, again, if he's not scoring goals, he's not doing much out there. Bentancur, not great. Kudus, not great. There was something about Kudus that was off today. Richarlison, not great. I'm wondering if they just got tired from not having played this style of football before. But I felt that that they were going to be fine. That the changing of the tactics would help them out. Again, Mickey was good. I thought Lucas was really good when he came on. He kind of had an effect in the game. The tides kind of changed when him and Tell came on. Destiny was just fine. Papsar was just fine, but not good enough. From a creative standpoint, we kind of lacked any kind of creative game. Now we have international break coming up. We come back to play West Ham. West Ham won a game. We got West Ham, Brighton, Wolves, Leeds, and then Villa. I honestly, of those next 5 games, if we don't take, I don't know, 16 points, then we might need to have a conversation. But I think we're not going to win every single game. We're not going to have to, we're not going to have to worry about this going forward. Sure, you're allowed a bad game. Man City have lost 2 games in a row now, and they have a lot of very good players. They're still a top tier team. They have probably one of the most destructive, inhuman, robotic strikers ever in the history of the Premier League. And right now, they're just not clicking. This type of thing happens to good teams, and Tottenham are a good team. I think that after watching this game, it's very clear that the lack of creativity, the lack of finishing ability, the lack of being able to move the ball through the box effectively, and the need for more just overall offensive firepower. I think that we need some reinforcements, and we're bringing them in Xavi Simons and Simons. We'll get that pronunciation down. We're gonna have him. We're bringing in Randall Koulibaly, who is who's also an attacking presence, hopefully going to fill in on that left hand side. But we'll talk about him in the second half of this because we don't need to talk about. Um, we'll talk about our new signings in the second half of this because we don't need to talk about a game. We got news that Solanke's injury um, might be a little worse than we initially thought, but he did notice we did get notice from Frank that it is an ankle issue and that he could be back for post international break. Um, I think that we're going to need to get into a place um, where we're going to be able to have some rotation up front. Koulibaly is going to going to be able to slot in a bit, but like I think that you know um, we needed to find some solutions, and hopefully in these two players that we have some solutions. Uh, our I think defensive stability. I think we're going to be kind of okay on that. Um, but we need to be able to build attacks from that defensive stability. I think that we're very compact. I think that we're very organized defensively. Um, and I think that once we figure out how to defend against a team who can counterattack, who can play that type of a game, then I think we'll be fine. Um, we need a lot more lineup rotation. We know that. Um, even though we were able to bring on Bergval, Tell, you know, I think that we need to have players that are a little more dynamic, that have fresher legs. I mean, missing players like strong midfield players like Decky, creative midfield players like um, like Madison. I it kind of hampers you in that way, right? That you can't necessarily rotate the way that you want to. You can't necessarily game plan one way or another like you might want to. Um, I think that some tactical tweaks are going to be necessary, and I think that they'll be coming. Um, in the end, Spurs face like a number of challenges. Um, I think Bournemouth was very resilient from their previous two games. Um, but I think that Frank really needs to kind of rally the troops, get them back on the same page, and just kind of push forward. He's a very, very good coach. I don't think we nearly need to worry about anything. We're 3 games into the season. There's no like serious concerns other than like maybe Solanke's injury, because he's going to be a major part of this a part of this press, a part of this attacking game going forward. Um, we need a striker who's a little bit stronger in the box, and hopefully Koulibaly will be that guy. But I think that we're going to be fine. You know, I think that Frank is like we said before, he's super tactically flexible. He'll change things up. We're not we're not we shouldn't expect to get top 2, top 3, right? We shouldn't expect to be fighting for those positions when we were what 17th last year. So, I mean, I think we've said it before. Anywhere from 7 to 10 is nice. Is nice. Anywhere from 4 to 7 is, you know, holy shit. And I mean, if we end up in the top 4, firmly in the top 4, then I think that we have a real shot at things here. Um, you know, I just thought that like, I think a lot of people were looking toward the window, and our friend Ian says, "Thank God the window is over." Some great signings, but he said, "Was it just me who thought it was a slog compared to previous windows?" Yeah, we it seemed we wasted a lot of time. It seemed that like that the window being open as long as it was, and Spurs effectually doing almost nothing from the time that we signed Kudus to the time that the Eze situation happened. I think with the Eze situation that happening, um, it was very apparent that Daniel Levy had his fingers all over everything. And for me, um, the speed that we signed Javi, um, that and how it almost came out of nowhere. I know that kind of we'd been kind of scouting him, and he had kind of been on the radar, but there was really nothing that was going to materialize out of it. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, poof! It kind of happens, and it moves quickly. For me, Paratici's got his fingers all over this one. Um, and I think Vinay and Prodigy are gonna be working in the dark arts, um, in the coming windows, and I think that they'll be very good. Like I said, with the Eze thing, we that had Daniel Levy all over it. That had Daniel Levy's, wanting to get the better deal, wanting to haggle, want over price, wanting, and I don't think it was that. I don't think that he's cheap. I don't think he's cheap. He spends his money. He spends money in places where it's going to make sure that the team is financially stable for the future, and that they're legally stable for the future. But when you have players that are out, you can't that are out and you need to replace, you can't haggle over price like that, because it just allows other teams to pop in, and who just have the money and that are willing to spend um, immediately, and not haggle over price. But we do have one major thing to get to, and I know that like it's going to be kind of boring, and you probably don't want to listen to me any longer drone on about this shit of a game, or and we'll get into the window in a second. But I do want to talk to you guys about what I'm drinking. I've got a couple of beers um, that I had to choose from. I went to the Bevy, that is our local bottle shop, as you would call it, um, and they had a whole bunch of different beers there. And I said, you know what, I need to get something. I did Siren last week, so I wanted to get something different, something that's kind of apropos for the season. And I don't normally do this. I fucking hate the seasonal drink of autumn, as it were. Um, but God, I hate doing this. Uh, but I'm gonna go. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go with the English beer that I found. I was gonna do a pumpkin ale. Maybe we'll do that next week. So that Steve can make fun of me whenever we hear from Steve again. Um, I hope his arm hasn't fallen off from some sort of terrible back alley tattoo gun infection. Um, and I can actually talk to you about that in a second, because where did this beer go that I had? Huh. Not that one. 1 second. Ah, here we go. So we got this. I got this beers. I got a whole bunch of different beers from a brewery called More Brewing, More Beer Company, MOOR. Brewery started in 2007. Um, they're all like natural live beers. Um, Live beers are like they're referred to like a real beer or a cask ale or a real ale. Um, it's like a living product, right? So it's canned, um, and it contains it's like naturally hazy. It contains all the brewer's yeasts and sugars and stuff that allow it to kind of um they're the like the original barrel beers, right? Barrel conditioned beers that what's the best way to say it? That kind of are able to condition and ferment inside the cans or the barrels. So I got this beer here. This is Old Freddie Walker Old Ale. It's 7.3. Um, and it is an old ale or a strong ale. I'm gonna pour this like so strong ales, old ales are historically um they're historically English beers. They're generally somewhere between 5 and 8%, depending on the beer, depending on the cask, depending on um, how it was fermented, what adjuncts were used in making the beer. Um, they're gonna be super malty. They're gonna be kind of sweet on the back end. And like I said, these beers continue to condition or ferment inside the bottles or cans, if you will. Um, yeah, smells good. Oh man, this is dark. So this beer is dark. It almost looks like a porter. Oh, it smells a little bit like a porter. It smells very chocolatey. Let's see what the back of this can says. Doesn't really say much of anything. You can't tell that it's hazy. It's not. You can't tell that it's hazy because it's super super dark. It looks like a porter. I didn't expect it to be this color. I expected it to be a little bit redder, a little bit more translucent than it is. But we'll get into it, and I'll tell you what I think about it. Yeah, it's oddly reminiscent of like a winter warmer, almost like somewhere between a porter and a Scotch ale. Um, so these beers are like typically brewed in like the winter months, the fall or winter months. Um, these are generally like this tastes very reminiscent of like a Christmas ale without like it has that mouth feel, it has that kind of sweeter, milder taste. Um, almost like a fruitier taste. But I mean, probably has something to do with the yeast that's left in it. I really enjoy the beer. But it acts too much like a porter for me. Um, I like old ales. I like cask ales. You know, we don't get a lot of them around here. And you know, I bitched to our friend Adam about it a number of times because every time we talk about it on the Discord, um, you know, he'd be out having a cask ale, which seemed, you know, they seem to be at every goddamn English pub on the planet. And I never get to have a cask ale. Every once in a while, I had a um, Heady Topper IPA on cask one time, and it was like smooth and delicious and creamy and just amazing. This beer is good. It's fine, but again, it's somewhere between like a winter warmer, um, like a Long Trail Hibernator, like a more of a Scottish ale, like a wee heavy, somewhere between like a wee heavy and a porter. I don't get into these beers that often, so um yeah, straight up. Um let's go with a 3.6. I mean, it just doesn't do what I was hoping it would do. And that could be because it's I don't know when it was brewed. It doesn't tell me when it was brewed. It doesn't give me a born on date, but it says to drink it before 8/10/26. So I'm a year early, at least on it. Um Usually we have like born on dates here in the States, but this just doesn't have it. It's fine. Um yeah, it's an okay beer. I just didn't expect it to be like this. I expected it to be a little more boozy. I expected it to be a little less dark and malty. So I again, I enjoy the beer. It's just it doesn't stay true to the style. I mean, as far as I'm concerned. So that was Hey Mike, what you drinking? I think I gave it a 3.6. Um, so uh, that was Old Freddie Walker by Moore Beer Company. Um, in my other cup that I was already drinking, in my Duff mug, um, I am drinking another one of Moore's beers. This one is called Revival. It's a pale bitter. Also very good, but it's a 3.5%, 3.4%. I love these little cans. It comes 11.2 fluid ounces. Is kind of interesting because our cans here are 12 ounces generally. But anyway, that was Hey Mike, what you drinking? And here I am. I wanted to talk about our signings. So yeah, so Ian brought up um the window, and like we said, the window did seem to like kind of like drag on and drag out till we got to the Eze saga, which ended up leaving him in a stupid ass red shirt with white sleeves. Um which good for him. I didn't watch him play the other day. I didn't get a chance, which also is fine for me because I had other things to do, namely try and get some fishing in. But anyway, so we did get, like I said, we got Chavi over the line, and it happened almost kind of like super super quick, which to me, um has Paratici's fingers all over it. His fingerprints are all over this. This happened quickly, um, and I think there was probably some dark arts involved in getting him here. He is one of Europe's like most exciting young attacking talents. I can't say enough. I wanted to get my buddy Sam on tonight. Sam is works for the Blazing Musket, and he which is a New England soccer website. So he covers the MLS. He covers our Vermont Green. Um, he is a co-host of mine on my other podcast, my Vermont Green podcast, United in Green. Um, and he is a PSG fan. I wanted to get him on tonight. He kind of teased me a little bit and said that he would come on and talk Javi all day, and then last second changed his mind. I think he got, I don't know why he got cold feet, but he did. But um, he could have lended a lot to this conversation, but that's fine. Um, like I said, he's one of Europe's like super, super, super young, super exciting attacking talents. Um, we're super lucky. We have a lot of reason to be super excited about this. Um, he's super young, 22 years old, Dutch. So we know that the Dutch style of play allows for everybody to kind of move in and out of position. They play a number of different positions. Nobody has really true positions. Um, he's been on the Dutch national team for a number of years now. Um, he can dribble with both feet. He can shoot with both feet, so he's super comfortable. Um, on one side or the other on the wings, He can play central midfield. Um, he is from I've been watching him a bit, and like never thought Tottenham could get a player like this. I really I never did, and I'm super super excited to see what he brings. And I honestly still I don't know how we got him. And after watching that game the other day, he's thinking one of two things. He's either saying, "What the fuck did I get myself into?" or he's saying, "This team needs help and I can help. I'm the guy to do it." And I hope that you know it's the latter, because I think we need a little bit of swagger in this team. We need a little bit of swagger, and I think that we can't rely on Mokuda's to do everything. We can't rely on Brennan Johnson to do the one fucking thing that he does, which is score. Um, so we have a guy like Chavi. He is going to be amazing. You know, if you're comparing him to James Madison, he is a similar type player. He's a bit better with the ball at his feet. He's super, super comfortable in tight spaces. Um, he's not a guy who's going to retreat when he gets the ball. He loves to carry the ball forward. He loves to get through the defense. Um, he is dribbly. He's great on the 1v1s. He he draws defenders to him, and so I mean he's able to lay the ball off. He just opens up everything, and creatively that's what we need in this midfield. We can't go on with a midfield of Bentancur, Sarr, and Paulinho the entire season. We can't expect Lucas Bergvall to be the guy um, at his young age. Even though Javi is 22, Lucas, we're still looking at what, 19 years old. He's still a teenager. He's still young. He's shown that he can play in this league, but I don't think he's ready for the prime time quite yet. Where Chavi's been at the prime time for years. Um, he's got amazing vision, like super, super excellent passer between the lines. His final ball is going to be something that is going to unlock defenses. That's going to unlock these low blocks that we're gonna encounter. The teams that like to kind of absorb pressure and counterattack. Uh, uh, he does a lot of kind of these cutbacks, um, uh, which allow for open shots, uh, disguised passes. Um, he's he's super exciting, and like his high chance creation stats in the Eredivisie and Bundesliga should give everybody um, cause for excitement here. Like I said, he could play center attacking midfield. He could play left wing. He could play right wing, um, which gives Thomas Frank a lot of tactical options. Like he's going to be able to play him beside a Papsar. He's going to be able to play him beside probably even beside a Bergvall, a Decky when he comes back. I think him and Decky will get along well together. Um, but he's not just like all flair and show. I mean, I know he said that in his opening interview that he brings a little bit of flair and a little bit of um, excitement when he plays, but um, he is super aggressive on the press. He is super aggressive in transition. He doesn't ever seem to get tired, which kind of would uh, would play into like the Thomas Frank like high pressing and counter pressing side that he wants to be with Spurs. Um, he's hit double digit goals at both PSV and Leipzig. He's very, very consistent. Um, he makes super intelligent runs into the box. He likes to running from behind a lot, which is great. And it really allows him to act in the box in a way that, like I said, will unlock the defenses. Um, what we've been really missing in the midfield is a true like connector between our midfield and between the midfield and the attack. I mean, I think we've been lacking that for a long time. Last season, we had large stretches of the season where Madison was hurt, and we had no creative options. He can provide that. You know, Decky's not that same type of a player that can do what Chavi does. Um, so he's going to be able to provide that link between Paulinho and Bentancur. You know, he's going to be able to set up Richarlison, Johnson, who's another guy who loves to run behind. and just kind of appear at the back, the back post. Um, you know, he's also gonna provide a lot of service for guys who um who like to dribble at people, guys like Kudus and Tell. Um, he's going to be able to be flexible in any formation. He can play in a 4-2-3-1. He can play in a 4-3-3. I hesitate to say whether he can play as kind of one of like an inside forward in a 3-4-3 type of a situation, but maybe. But in the end, what he's going to do is he's going to boost the creativity. He's going to give service to the guys who should be able to score. He's going to score goals himself. And the thing about him is that he's 22 years old. He's got a super, super high ceiling, which if you're looking at his numbers, he's very, very comparable to what Madison has been doing his whole career. But at 22 years old, his ceiling is so high. I just hesitate to say that he's going to be the key here because he is coming from the Bundesliga. He is coming from Eredivisie. And, we assume things of players when they come to the Premier League. The Premier League is a really, really tough league, and it's going to take time for players to adjust. But he's a super confident kid, man. He takes responsibility for himself. He will take responsibility if he fucks up. He will also take the credit when he doesn't, when he is the creative force. So I like a player that has a little bit of flair, that has a little bit of swagger to him. We haven't seen players like that in Tottenham in a while, so we need players like that. I think that he's more direct, he's more pace driven than somebody like a Brennan Johnson. And while Kudus is like a more explosive goal scoring, goal oriented guy, Simons is like he's more of, like I said, that facilitator, that guy who can unlock defenses. He's not going to be the guy to replace Son, even though he can play on either side. But he will be able to be a rotation option in any of those spots. Like I said, he's going to need some time to adapt to the physicality. I think he's probably going to be one of the main keys to a successful season this year. And I think that he could end up becoming the face of the team. I'm really excited about him. I mean, obviously I did a little bit of research on him knowing that I was going to have to do this by myself tonight. But yeah, let's get on to our next player, which is Colomani, which we signed today. Came in quickly, got his paperwork signed, got his medical done, and we got him before the end of the window. So that happened really quickly too, which again tells me that Paratici's got his fingers all over this. I know he wasn't supposed to be coming until after the window ended, but yeah, Koulibaly, he is a kind of multifaceted type of a forward. He can play in any of those spots across the front line. He's super dangerous when he gets space. He can be somewhat of like a Nicholas Jackson, if you will, if the type of a player for me. Let's see, he's French. He was on the World Cup team in 22. Again, he can play every single position across the front. Most recently, he's played for Frankfurt and for Paris Saint-Germain. So he's got kind of that pedigree playing in the quote unquote bigger leagues. The thing that I love about him is his athleticism. He's super explosive. He's super, super fucking fast, which in a transition game can make him a fucking nightmare for defenders. And unless you have a defender that's as fast as fucking Mickey Van de Ven, you're not going to have a lot of guys who can keep up with him. He's strong in 1v1s. He's not as strong, I don't think, as somebody like a Kudus. Again, he doesn't have that Premier League uh, record to talk about. So it's going to be tough. Um, he loves to start counterattacks. He could play as that kind of like that lone up top striker, or he can play in the front two if needed. And we know that like with the way that Frank plays, that has the ability to um, to change up his styles for whatever is needed. Um, Give me a second. I'm gonna take a drink of this again. He's another guy who can be really creative. He can be a good connector player. Um, he's one of these guys who will draw the keeper out. He loves to lay the ball off, um, but he also does love to score. Um, but he's one of these guys who like um, in the year that he was with Frankfurt, he scored 15 goals and 14 assists. Now we know that like obviously goal scoring in the Bundesliga is what it is. I would hesitate to say that I could score any goals in the Bundesliga, but um, I'm willing to bet there are some players that we wouldn't thought of that could go from not scoring goals in the Premier League and turn into a you know 10 to 12 goal scorer in the Bundesliga. I just don't rate that league. It's very hard for me to watch. Um, uh, the defenses in the Bundesliga are generally pretty awful. Um, but that said, he is a balanced scorer. He's a balanced scorer. He likes to pass the ball. He likes to assist. Um, he's super aggressive. Um, and what makes him valuable is that he has that intensity to press and to do what's asked of him in a press like Frank likes to use. Excuse me. Uh, he's super composed in front of goal. Um, he's not necessarily like a Harry Kane. You're not going to get a Harry Kane replacement. I mean, obviously, you're not going to have the next Harry Kane ever. There's not going to be another Harry Kane. He's not one of these guys who's going to be a hold up striker. He's not a pure number nine, but he does get the job done. He gets himself into good positions to be able to score, to be able to lay the ball off if he has to. Um, so I mean, I'm very excited about him in that way. The problem is that um, if he's not given space to run, I mean, he can kind of fall out of the game. And this is just from like my 15 to 20 minutes of research that I did on YouTube. Um, I'm not going to expect that he's not going to come in and score goals, though. He's going to score goals. He's going to be a nightmare for defenders, like I said. He's not going to be one of these Timo Werner types who had a couple of good seasons and then fizzled out, or a Gabby Jesus is another one of those type of players. Um, but I mean, I think that a team like Frank likes to run doesn't necessarily need a striker that is a traditional hold up number nine. His system is more about being a dynamic type of a player. It's more about movement, that kind of stuff. So he thrives in those types of situations where um, fast vertical movements, um, where if you can get out into space, that he can exploit that space. Um, so I think when he is going to be paired up with somebody like Xavi, I think there's going to be a lot of problems going forward for some of these teams that we're going to be playing coming up soon. And Brighton has had a nice start to the season, but I think that again, if Tottenham doesn't get at least 16 points out of the next 5 games, um, then wait, that can't be right. 16 out of 5. Anyway, yes. I think we need to win 4 of those 5 games. So 13 points. I don't think we can get beat. I just don't see what happened against Bournemouth happening again. Uh, um, so I mean, in the end, I think that Koulibaly is going to end up being one of these guys who can rotate with Richarlison. He can rotate with Brennan Johnson. He may take Brennan Johnson's spot on the left in situations where we have Richarlison up top, where we have a Dom Solanke up top. He's going to be able to spell a Kudus. I'm hoping that Xavi doesn't have to do anything but play that creative kind of number 10. But I think that pressing and work rate are big parts of the way that both of these players play. And we're not going to see lazy players out there. I don't think you're going to see players that hang their heads when things aren't going right. So I'm very excited about these 2 players, and I really hope that we have we have the attacking team that we want now. Young, experienced, physical front line, fast, 1v1 dribblers, like creative front line. It's just going to be fun to watch, and I'm really excited for it. So with that, I'm probably getting close to the end. I did do about an hour of talking by myself, which it's a little tough. I'm not going to lie. This is the second time that I've done this because I've been abandoned by my teammates. But here I am calling out Steve. Here I am calling out Brian from Rhode Island. And in the end, I think that this is a learning experience for me. And if you guys hate it, I understand. If you love it, I understand. But I mean, we're gonna see how this plays out for the rest of the season. I have a couple of other folks who, if the main characters can't come on, that I can rotate in. So there are other Spurs fans out here who do want to come on and be part of this podcast. So if we need to have fill-ins, we'll have fill-ins. If not, I'll just try and go on my own again. We'll see what happens. But until the next time, as Steve would say, coys, 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 coys. And guys, please just, there's a lot of bullshit going on out there right now. Don't be an asshole. And the other thing is that I just want everybody to go out there, make sure that you're safe. Just be safe and protect your mental health. I love and respect all of you. And until next time, Tottenham Hotspur action. It's Franktastic.